What is up guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Dr. Hamas. Thanks. So today we got two Ultra cameras over here that we're going to check out. Of course, I'm talking about the Mi 11 Ultra and Galaxy S21 Ultra. So today is going to be a bit different from how we normally do the camera comparisons, but we are still going to put the photos and videos side by side with each other, try to compare them and try to nitpick as much as we can between these two Ultra phones. So yes, without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so let's talk about the camera features on both of these two phones over here. And two of them, they do have a lot of features that is pretty interesting. Of course, with the S21 Ultra, the major feature over here is the director's view, but the Mi 11 Ultra is not hiding behind because they do have something similar, which is the multi-cam. But what I would say I will notice about the Xiaomi phone features here, the camera features, is that it's more catered towards people who actually use TikTok or those kind of social media more often. So you can see here with the features, you're going to get that more with the Mi 11 Ultra. So now we're going to check out some outdoor shots over here with plenty of light, and immediately I noticed there's a difference between both of these two Ultra phones. On the Mi 11 Ultra, it does tend to have more of a colder look compared to the S21 Ultra. In terms of details, in terms of colors, they are pretty different on both of these two pictures over here. What I'm going to say is that I do prefer personally the photos taken with the S21 Ultra. It does tend to look a bit more natural, which wasn't the thing before with Samsung phones because they tend to look a bit more saturated, a bit more contrasty. But over here with the latest updates, they kind of tone it down quite a bit. And I actually do like the photos taken over here. And what I noticed is that the dynamic range is actually handled much better on the S21 Ultra compared to the Mi 11 Ultra. In these two images, what I noticed is that the shadows, as you can see in the buildings, is actually handled better in the S21 Ultra compared to the Mi 11 Ultra. And before I go on any further, I have to tell you that shots taken on each of their phone is really good. It's only, of course, when you're putting them side by side that you're going to notice some differences here and there. When it comes to taking photos with some objects, what I noticed is that the Mi 11 Ultra does have more of a natural look compared to the S21 Ultra. What I like about the photos here with the Mi 11 Ultra is that it's actually more natural compared to the S21. And the S21 over here, I feel does saturate the photos a bit more, which is a bit weird because if you're taking just wide view, it does have a good job in terms of dynamic range and colors. But if you're taking photos like over here with some red images, some green images, I do feel that on the Mi 11 Ultra, it does have more of a natural look. Now let's check out some ultra wide shots over here on both of these two Ultra phones. On the Mi 11 Ultra, it does have a 48 megapixel ultra wide, while the S21 Ultra does have a 12 megapixel ultra wide shots. Overall, in terms of quality of photos, both of them do a very good job, although the Mi 11 Ultra in terms of numbers does beat it. But again, when it comes to just shots taken on both of these two phones, they do look really good and very close to each other. What I noticed is that going on from the main lens to the ultra wide, there isn't that much distortion between both of these two phones, and that is a very good thing. There's not much difference in terms of color as well on both of these two phones, but I do like the ultra wide shots taken with the Mi 11 Ultra. I gotta say that the colors do look a bit more natural compared to the S21 Ultra, which again does sometimes look a bit more saturated, which is a bit of a weird thing because we mentioned at the start that it does have more of a natural feel. But using the main lens, sometimes going on to the ultra wide, it does change a little bit. Not much, but what I gotta say, the S21 Ultra does a better job again is in terms of the dynamic range. Over here on the shadows, you get more details compared to the Mi 11 Ultra, but under trickier lighting conditions, I think the S21 Ultra here does a really good job. Over here you can see that the dynamic range and details is much better preserved on the S21 Ultra compared to the Mi 11 Ultra. So the next category that we are going to do here are the selfie shots. On the S21 Ultra, it does have a 40 megapixel sensor compared to the 20 megapixel sensor on the Mi 11 Ultra, and to be honest, this category is one of the easiest I'm going to do so far because in these two shots over here, you can see that the S21 Ultra does have a better photo compared to the Mi 11 Ultra. It just looks so much better compared to the Mi 11 Ultra in terms of the background, in terms of details, in terms of subject separation, in terms of color. I do prefer it much better on the S21 Ultra compared to the Mi 11 Ultra. As we can clearly see over here on the Mi 11 Ultra, to be honest, I do feel that this one is a very low quality image. Yes, you still get a good amount of details and sharpness and good subject separation, but to be honest, the background here is blown out way too much. I did try to minimize all the settings over here to give it more of a natural look. But if you do have a bright background behind you, you will struggle with the Mi 11 Ultra. In this next shot, what I gotta say is that yes, the Mi 11 Ultra does have more of a blown out and brighter image compared to the S21 Ultra. But if you see onto my face mask, which of course all of us should be wearing, it does have more details compared to the S21 Ultra. But just overall in terms of both of these two phones, I gotta say the S21 Ultra does have the more dramatic look, it does have the more better details compared to the Mi 11 Ultra. And then going on to some trickier lighting conditions, this is where I think both of them are pretty much equal when you don't have any bright backgrounds over here. Both of these two phones do a really good job in terms of dynamic range, but then again, just overall photos, I do prefer it on the S21 Ultra. One more thing to note is that on the S21 Ultra, when you're taking selfie shots, they do enable you to widen the field of view so you can get more people into your shots. But of course now we have to social distance, so that is not a recommended feature. Next up here, we're going to check out some portrait shots, and you can see some photos of my girlfriend over here patiently waiting for me. And what I noticed is that the S21 Ultra again does look better compared to the Mi 11 Ultra, but it is much closer compared to when you're taking selfie shots. Overall, in terms of color, subject separation, again, it's very good on both of these two phones, but one thing to note is that on the S21 Ultra, you can actually change the background blur after you've taken the shots. What I gotta say again is that the dynamic range is definitely handled better on the S21 Ultra compared to the Mi 11 Ultra. The Mi 11 Ultra sometimes does give you a more natural feel to it, and it does give you a brighter image compared to the S21 Ultra, which I feel sometimes the blacks are a little bit more crushed compared to the Mi 11 Ultra. But in terms of just color, detail, sharpness on both of these two phones, they are pretty much very equal. And in this shot over here, under very tricky lighting condition, the Mi 11 Ultra does a good job, but it does have a more of a red hue on my face for some reason, whereas on the S21 Ultra, again, it does very well in terms of dynamic range, but it does change my skin tones quite a bit over here, making me look a bit more orange. So now we're going to talk about the third and fourth lens on both of these two phones. On the S21 Ultra, you do have two telephoto cameras over here. You can go up to 3 times and 10 times of optical zoom and up to 100 times of zoom. Over on the Mi 11 Ultra, you can go up to 5 times and a massive 120 times of zoom. To be honest, shots taken at the maximum zoom on both of these two phones are very useless. It's very grainy, a lot of details are lost, and as you can see here, shots taken at the maximum zoom on both of these two phones are pretty bad. Next up here are the selfie videos, and it also follows that trend as well. I do prefer it on the S21 Ultra. It's much better compared to the Mi 11 Ultra. It does look more grainy, it does look more shaky, and the quality is pretty bad compared to the S21 Ultra. So now let's check out videos taken with the rear cameras, and both of these two phones can record up to 8K. And what I always like about taking videos with the flagship phones is that they do have OIS into their main lens. And what I gotta say over here is that the Mi 11 Ultra does look better compared to the S21 Ultra. It does have more of a stable look even with the video stabilization off. And what I gotta say is that the dynamic range and color does look better on the Mi 11 Ultra. And one more thing that I do like to use is the macro feature. So over here, I gotta say that the S21 Ultra with that ultra wide lens, the dual pixel autofocus, it does a much better job over here compared to the Mi 11 Ultra. The Mi 11 Ultra does have a macro mode as well, but for some reason, it doesn't really use the cameras that well. And I gotta say the S21 Ultra does give me a sharper look, and it does enable me to go very close to an object, closer compared to the Mi 11 Ultra. Shots taken over here on both of these two phones in terms of the aperture and in terms of the subject separation, again, are very good on both of these two phones. Now let's go on to some night shots over here, and again, both of them are pretty similar compared to when they're taking daylight shots. They go pretty head to head over here in this front, and I gotta say, shots taken on both of these two phones are really excellent, and they have done a remarkable job in terms of their software over the past 2 or 3 years. Over here, you're gonna get a lot of details, and the colors are pretty similar, I would say, on both of these two phones. The Mi 11 Ultra does give you a more warmer look, which is a bit surprising, while the S21 Ultra does give you more of a colder look. Using the main lens on both of these two phones, I gotta say photos taken here are very close to each other, but I gotta say sometimes the Mi 11 Ultra does give you a better dynamic range, sometimes the S21 Ultra does the better job. And on both of these two phones, you can use the ultra-wide lens as well in terms of the night mode. And over here, I gotta say that the S21 Ultra does look better compared to the Mi 11 Ultra. The Mi 11 Ultra definitely does look darker and it doesn't work as well. Sometimes you get a little bit more details, but overall, in terms of just looking at the shots, I gotta say the S21 Ultra does a better job. And going on to night video over here, on the Mi 11 Ultra, you do have a bit more lens flare compared to the S21 Ultra. Again, both of them do a pretty good job in terms of just color, but again, in terms of Android phones, they do have that micro jitter, which is still seen on these two Ultra flagship phones. So lastly, over here, we got some nighttime selfie shots, and as with the daytime shots, the S21 Ultra does a better job compared to the Mi 11 Ultra. You're gonna get more lighting, you're gonna get more details, more color compared to the Mi 11 Ultra, which again does look like a cheap phone. To be honest, I didn't expect phone companies to improve in terms of the nighttime selfie shots, but I'm glad on the S21 Ultra it's making some good steps forward in this department. So yes, that is it. This is the camera comparisons between the Mi 11 Ultra and the Galaxy S21 Ultra. Overall, both of these two phones, again, like I mentioned before, they do give you very good shots. But overall, I got to say, I am still leaning towards the Galaxy S21 Ultra. It is one of my favorite phone overall to use, and it does have one of the better cameras so far here in 2021. So yes, do let me know in the comments if you did enjoy this and did find this helpful. Do leave a comment down below again if you do want to see any more of this camera comparison and which phone would you want to see. So that is it. If you did enjoy this and want to see more of these videos, do click the like and smash that subscribe button down below for more videos like this in the future. Do also follow me on my socials as well on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and also here on YouTube at Dr. Hummus Tech. So that is it. This is Dr. Hummus Tech. Stay safe, take care, and wash those hands.